This
If you do
conference
not
will
have
now
a
be
PIN,
recorded.
just press pound or hash.
Great, thank you, Holly. And
Conference will
Cindy,
now be recorded.
could you please mute your line?
Work for me either.
Thank
Fucking
you.
hate those. It's all these different.
Cindy, your mic is hot. Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone to our January meeting. Appreciate everyone accommodating our virtual meeting, and hope that you're all staying safe in this winter wonderland that we're experiencing. Hope you're able to stay safe and warm and prepared as we work through these winter storms. So appreciate everyone's time. That brings us to the approval of today's agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda by Benson.
Schaefer, second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The approval of the meeting minutes from December 14th.
Schaefer motion.
And
Brought
a second. Thank you. I have a motion and a second for the approval of the meeting minutes from December 14th. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. That brings us to the SWIC report. SWIC Nichols.
Okay, thank you, Chair Bischoff. Just want to start out with this short report to say Happy New Year. 2023 was a productive year for this board. Thanks for all the hard work that you put in. I'm really excited about 2024. This week also brings my 1-year anniversary for this position, and I have to take the opportunity to say thanks for all the grace from the members during that onboarding time and the support I've received over this last year. I feel like I have learned a lot, but I know there's lots more to come. And then just touch on the fact that Iowa has created such a robust system that allows for successful interoperable communications, and the dedication of this board to monitor and improve continually that system helps in all sorts of incidents and definitely improves outcomes for public safety. So thank you to the board. Moving on, just to let you know, I'll be presenting at the State Fire School at Prairie Meadows on January 27th. To give a presentation on Isicsb. I'm always looking for opportunities to share information about the system, so you know of any other conferences, please let me know. The annual report was submitted to the legislature on that due date of January 1st, so they have that, and a copy of that should be already available on our website if anybody wants to take a look. A reminder that SCIP workshop, we're getting closer, is going to be held next month after our regularly scheduled meeting. The meeting is the in-person quarterly meeting, and then we'll stay in the afternoon here at Dallas County and complete that SCIP. For those who are going to be in attendance, we'll provide a really easy Subway lunch, so please fill out that JOT form with your intention to attend so we can make sure that that's here for you and have the list provided to the Finance Committee. And then I can give an update on our REMS CDP grant. That committee has been working to create promotional materials for distribution. Unity Point has greatly supported that effort with their media team. There's some slick sheets that will be going out to the EMS agencies all across the state explaining the grant project over Region 1 for the next couple years. And then there is also a short video that'll go along with that. And we want to continue to create those kind of materials as we move forward with this project. So if you hear anyone talking about it or they have questions about what they're seeing, please send them my way or to the grant committee so we can answer those questions for them. There's also some places on our website for them to request more information or provide their contact information. Next, we will be moving to the needs assessment or site visit in Carroll County later this month. And then we're planning Calhoun County in February. And hopefully we'll get to all 16 counties in Region 1 over the next few short months. I will take any questions now.
Great. Thank you, Swick Nichols. Appreciate that. Are there any questions for Holly? Sorry, Haley. That brings us to the 911 committee report. Program Manager DeRushi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple things. First, a personnel update for those familiar with the 911 program. Allie Bright has been with us for about 4 years now. She has actually taken a promotion within HSEMD, so she is now the Department's Public Information Officer. So if you know her at all, she did a really good job in the 911 program, and it'll be a great benefit to have her in that role, but definitely a loss for us. We will be posting that position probably in the next couple weeks. So if you might know of anyone that is interested, or you are interested, I will make sure to forward that to my normal 911 contacts, or let me know if you specifically want that posting when it hits the street. Really, the only thing to note from the 911 council meeting today, we did approve Van Buren County for a training course. They were approved for the Healthy Dispatcher Back to Basics. So if you are interested in that, let me know and I will get you the course details. With that, I would take any questions.
Great. Thank you, Blake. Appreciate your report. Are there any questions? User Group Committee, Chair Hess.
The user group committee met on December 21st. Pretty much just business as usual, reviewed applications that you will see later on the agenda. Nothing else additional was addressed at the user group meeting.
Fantastic. Are there any questions for the user group? And Wendy Hess. Finance Committee, Chair Brown.
I think he's going to be gone today. I can give that report.
Thank you, Haley.
Okay, so the beginning balance that we started with was $156,839. And then the ending after some normal expenses, $145,061.58.
Fantastic. Are there any questions regarding the Finance Committee? That brings us to governance, and I think we'll stick with Swick Nichols.
Thank you. Governance did not meet because of the holidays, so we will have a report next month.
Excellent. That brings us to operations and Chair Edson.
Operations did meet yesterday. We worked through two issues that technology is also looking at as well. One of them is the bidirectional amplifiers. We don't really have a policy or procedure for bringing those on right now, but the FCC ruling 90.219 says that we have to kind of keep track of them, and there's a little bit that we need to kind of figure out as we bring on more of those onto the system. So that conversation is continuing. And then discipline-specific encryption for interoperable talk groups. I know that technology is going to talk about that a little bit, and I can chime in then with our conversation. Otherwise, we didn't have any other business.
Great. Thank you, Bridget. Appreciate your efforts. Are there any questions for operations? Training and Outreach Committee, Chair Solo.
Yes, we met on the 28th. We went over some final changes for the status board presentation. I believe that's close if it's not already uploaded to the website. And then we discussed other ideas of what to do next to include scanning or patching, and the standards 2.11.0. We talked about the CommU credentialing process, and can we put some type of training in place to get the workbook signed off on, something more streamlined as to what it looks like a reference guide. Training for the people signing off of the workbook. Again, just an attempt to streamline it and clarification on exactly what is needed, how to properly fill out that task book. And then we also discussed on how to, as an outreach, how to reach the different PSAPs throughout the state to let them know of the training that we have available and how to get it to them. Just because we have it on the website, how many people know that the website exists, and where on the website does it exist? We decided on something similar to what we did with the REM CDP grant, and develop a flyer with a QR code and a URL that they can click on and take them directly to that training, and push it out either through the supervisors groups or a statewide PSAP distribution list, and also trying to get it included in their local training of new dispatchers at the PSAP level. And then we also, Haley added a comment section after they take the training as to what they thought of the training, any other training that they would like to see made available. And to date, we've had one feedback in that area, and we'll discuss that at our next meeting. And that's all I've got. I'll take any questions.
Travis, this is Haley. Just one more reminder that the INTD class is still posted, but it is full with 20 max students. If anyone's still interested, the link's going to stay open, and I'll put you on a waiting list in case for some reason somebody has to drop out. But we filled that up, so that's exciting.
That is very exciting. Thank you both for that report. Are there any questions for training and outreach? Greatly appreciate your efforts and your wanting to improve our existing systems. So that's exciting to hear. Hopefully we reach more people through your efforts. Any questions? That brings us to technology and Chair Updike.
I hope you're ready for this.
Yep,
It's kind of a long, yeah, buckle up. Technology met on the 28th of December and the 2nd of January. Holly, do you have the ICS 217A that you can put up? If not, I'd like to share that.
Can you see my screen? It should be up.
Yeah, that's a different subject. Can I just share my screen?
Oh, the 217A. Yes, I can do that.
It's the tab Robert A, I believe.
No, that's not it. Hold on.
Okay.
Patrick,
Sorry.
I'll give you control.
Okay. So hopefully you can see this ICS 217A.
I can see it.
Yep.
Okay, so obviously we updated it down here on the 28th of December. When this was originally filled out with the update, I listed the air to ground channels. When you license those, you get both pairs, input and output frequency. The committee thought it would be too confusing to list both of those frequencies. I tried to do that because the air mobile side of that communication could use one side of those frequencies, but the group decided that it would be better if we just list the direct side of those frequencies. And so that's why you see gaps between this, because if we come back later and have to add those, the input and output frequency, I don't have to redo everything other than just type that information in. So that's why that 217A looks like that. We also updated the 3 existing frequencies, the 7 IAG TAC I'm going to get into this in the old business part 16. But you can see we've updated that part of the ICS 217A. I worked with Haley on the 5th of January on licensing the additional 6 frequencies. So kudos to her for being such a trooper when it comes to filling out those forms and all that. But we're still working on it, okay? So that's a work in progress. The technology committee also has 6 policies/standards for review in the year of 2024. I would say we knocked out 4 of the 6, but they're still under review. We saw some things that needed to be reviewed by some of our other subject matter experts within the system, and so that information was sent to them to have them review that. So, like I said, 4 of the 6 are already kind of out of the way. There was a separate meeting from interested parties about developing a separate encrypted zone, which would, I suppose I should stop sharing here, the 217A. This is one of those subjects where it's kind of in its infancy. We came up with additional talk groups that would be completely encrypted. Holly, I don't know if you want to put that back up on your screen. Cue the Jeopardy music. Okay, there you go. So we just we set this up just as a region 1 type thing because it was just a preliminary thing. It doesn't necessarily represent an end product or anything. And so you can see a GTAC, 3 TACs, 1 med, and 4 law enforcement talk groups. These would be brand new talk groups that are completely encrypted. I'm not saying that this would get any traction, but it's worth putting some effort into it to see how this goes. We have a lot of work to do on this, and so we want to socialize this information with everybody, and your input, whoever you might be, is valued because we need those people who are actually possibly going to use this to have their input and say what they think about that. So this isn't an end all be all. We have a lot of work to do, and it may or may not take off. So any input we can get from people would be greatly appreciated. And if you can make those technology calls and those operations calls, that would be really great. So I guess I'll just kind of leave it at there for right now. The only other thing is I'll address the old business item 16 when we get to that, and I think I got it all covered.
Excellent. Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate your report. Bridget Edson, did you have anything that you wanted to add to the technology report and the items that Patrick had mentioned?
Yesterday when we talked about encryption, we recognized that the system already has that ability, and we think that it might be underutilized, and maybe there's an educational component to that. But then also it seems like this is coming from the law enforcement community, but we can't exactly track that down, and we want to get more information before we move forward on making this whole state implemented thing. So yes, we have the encryption ability. Are we using it enough? And what is the actual need? Are things that we probably have to address before moving forward on that.
It sounds like a great approach. Have a clear definition of the problem before we start throwing solutions at it. So that's a fantastic approach. Are there any questions for the technology committee? FirstNet Broadband Committee and Chair Benson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The FirstNet Broadband Committee met this week on Tuesday, January 9th. We did not have any action items at that time. We had a very short meeting, and FirstNet briefings will be provided by our AT&T partners a little later on in the meeting. That is the end of my report.
Great, thank you so much. Are there any questions for Mindy and the FirstNet Broadband Committee? All right, that brings us to information sharing among board members. Is there anyone who has information that they'd like to share? I just have one comment that the Isicsb is or will review and participate in any after action reviews of the Perry incident. Our sysadmin will share some information during his report of how the system performed during that event. There has been some first responder self-reports of communication aspects that worked great. The school radio for the notification, the interoperability from all of the different agencies that arrived at that scene. Communications were generally good from information that I've received. Confident that there's likely ways that we can improve that, and as those after action reports and conversations take place, we are at the ready to participate in those conversations as well as work towards solution of any findings that may come from that tragic event. So just wanted to make the board aware that we will participate as requested, or if there's information that we can provide to assist in those after actions, we will. And then just one last reminder, well, probably not the last, I'll probably say it at the very end as well. February is an in-person meeting, and after that meeting, we will have the skip review. So please, if you haven't ordered your lunch, please do so and plan to attend. Is there any other information sharing before we move on? The Isicsb System Administrator Report, Scott Richardson.
Thank you, Chair Bischoff. I will start off with a maintenance update. We have 3 sites left for RF maintenance on the calendar year 2023 schedule. Those are Underwood, Glenwood, and Fremont. Those dates are to be determined at this point. Also, scheduling is being worked on for the 2024 RF maintenance with the goal of completion by late August 2024 for that round of maintenance. So watch for the updates coming from our department on tower maintenance in your local area. Cedar Rapids site, the HVAC unit needs a condenser, and that work is being scheduled. The Mitchellville generator that had some mice damage, that has been repaired and is now operational. Tower lights at O'Brien, that issue is resolved with a control board replacement. And the tower light at Zwingle still needs a beacon replacement, and that is to be scheduled with the tower crew. We also have 11 sites that are still awaiting radome cover replacements, and those are pending supply issues with the radome cover manufacturer. That should wrap it up for the maintenance side of it. I will give you a few stats on the incident in Perry last week. The push-to-talks, total push-to-talks for the interop talk groups involved were 755. That was 485 push-to-talks on the main talk group, 268 on the secondary talk group. And as far as busies go, the Dallas simulcast had 0 busies. Woodward Story did have 9 busies for a total of 14.7 seconds The traffic was kind of split between those two sites, and beyond that, I have heard good reports of how it worked to link everyone together, and I think the communications overall was very good. We've got several more detailed reports for that incident, and we are reviewing data, and I'm sure at a later date more details will follow. As far as general numbers for Isicsb for last month, the radios stand at 35,873. Our talk groups are at 3,230, and the push-to-talks for last month are 2.6 million. And I believe that concludes my report. I will take any questions.
Great. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate the report and all the work you're doing in gathering that data and keeping everyone informed.
You bet.
Keeping the system functioning. Paramount.
Yes, indeed. Thanks. Indeed.
Are there any questions for our sysadmins? That brings us to the FirstNet Authority. Tom Lambie.
I have no report this month other than I'm continuing to work with the stakeholders and attending meetings in the region. I think Tyler may have a little bit for you.
All right, very well. AT&T and Tyler Richard.
I do have a little bit of an update. Thank you, Chair. I appreciate it. We did have an additional site come online in Red Oak. This is a pocket filling site that we're using to bolster coverage in Southwest Iowa. We identified it about a year and a half ago as kind of a fringe location where high power user equipment was being utilized frequently. So that's going to be a pocket fill site that came online right at the end of the year, around the 27th of December. Beyond that, I don't have any additional comments or updates. Like Tom said, I'm pulling him into stakeholder meetings to gather responses and indication of the direction of the network and useful information like that. I'll take any questions if there are any.
Excellent, thank you. Are there any questions for the FirstNet Authority or AT&T? That brings us to CISA update and Chris Myers.
Thank you, Chair Bischoff. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Awesome, thank you. Using some new audio configurations on the PC today, so I felt I needed to double check, so thank you. Thank you again for the time today. It's always appreciated. The report this month includes 2 new products from CISA. The first one is a emergency communications and extreme weather product that was released about a month or so ago from CISA. This document has some feedback from Iowa stakeholders built into it. I believe your Deputy SWCC, Chief Walzer, contributed to this as well. This paper outlines and discusses examples of extreme or severe weather and its potential impact on emergency communications infrastructure and the networks themselves. Some of the primary topics of focus for this document include extreme winds, which Iowa has had. You've had drought as well. You've had flooding and you've had cold. So really Iowa is an extreme weather area for emergency communications, and this paper documents some things to consider. There are feedback and information from all over the country on this one, and as things kind of move from one weather extreme to another, there's some good information here, including some things that may not be previously thought of, such as expecting the ground around guy anchors during a drought to make sure the ground's not cracking and things aren't shifting, among other items. This document also covers phases of communications loss and recovery during disasters, especially the time where things are starting to come back online, but then they may go down because lines that have been previously restored or temporarily restored get cut again during debris removal, and this document covers a lot of those various components. It's a very short read. It does have some Iowa feedback built into it, along with feedback from other parts of the country that do see extreme weather, much like Iowa. This paper is available for download. If you haven't seen it, please let me know and I will get it to you. The next document that came out recently, this is a document that covers personal security for critical infrastructure workers. This is derived from some of the counterintelligence training that we actually get within DHS, and there's some good information here for anybody that touches a critical information network that's used especially for public safety. It kind of looks at the components from the service provider side all the way up to the person that manages the network. And it asks you some key questions, such as, does your job or career make you an attractive target? And if so, you need to have enhanced vigilance. It talks about credible evidence for specific threats, your own personal history, and personal identifiers, as in, do you display any group affiliations that make you an attractive target? The moral of the story with this document is that good personnel security equates to good infrastructure security, and this is available for download as well from the CISA website. Finally, some regional items of note for the group that's happening elsewhere within Region 7. We held a PSAP cybersecurity webinar yesterday for the state of Missouri. There is some updated content here, and this also complements some of the other webinars that are available now and dedicated solely to LMR that's available through assistance through CISA. We're also putting on a pilot run of a virtual COML that is spread across 2 weekends. This is unique because the COML course, when you do it virtually, typically takes 5 days. We're able to compress it into 4, and we're doing this test run with the delivery for Nebraska over 2 weekends to help enhance volunteer participation. As this is done, as this is completed, I'll have eyes on it, and if it works well and FEMA EMI agrees that this is something we could do in the future, this may certainly be available for other states, and it could be something that Iowa utilizes to enhance volunteer participation in programs such as COML. There's also a FEMA Region 7 Rec Week meeting coming up at the end of the month that is often done in person and virtually. That is my report for the month. Chair Bischoff, I can go ahead and take any questions.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate the report. Are there any questions for Chris and CISA? All right, that brings us to old business. Discipline-specific encryption policy. Chair Updike.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, Holly, can I share my screen again since I've got this document ready to go?
Yes, just a second here. Let me. There you are.
Okay, hopefully you can all see this.
Yes, we can.
So last month, the board approved this document as it was written, and one of our technical members from the technology committee punched holes in this by letting us know that when you look at these NAC identifiers within the receive column, F7E is it's like a carrier squelch type code. It's like open squelch in the analog world. You can pick up anything with that NAC in there. And so what he's telling me, or what he was telling the group, was that when he went to try to program these county level talk groups, this F7E basically renders it useless. This becomes of no good with this NAC code of C ###, which would be whatever that county is. And so the group agreed that we should change that NAC code to 293 in the receive column. The problem is if you want to call it that, is that we've already approved this document as written. And so I wanted to put it out there that basically we're seeking permission or a request to just go ahead and update this receive NAC to 293, because it's just a technical detail that would make this county level talk group functional. And so that's why we're looking at this within this meeting, is to go ahead and get, the AOK to go ahead and update not only this document, but we would also update that in the ICS 217A. Disclaimer, it doesn't affect any of the other 700 meg frequencies that use those NAC codes, like air to ground or the conventional P25 channels. It only affects these frequencies, the 3 that exist, and the 6 additional that are being developed.
Are there any questions
So
from the board on that matter? In our pre-board meeting, in our conversation, we viewed this as a correction and would not require board approval to make this correction. However, Patrick wanted to represent that information publicly so that those members of the public that were listening or viewers of the recorded meeting would have higher attention to this finding. We will make this correction in the published documents, but at least the chairs did not view this as actionable. If the board sees it differently, I would certainly entertain a motion, but at this point we see this as a correction, a typo, if you will, to make it functional. The whole point was that it be functional. So, does anyone disagree with that?
it's one of those things where it kind of, for me, I would have never thought of that, you know, and different people see things in different ways, and this individual definitely saw it in a different way and pointed it out, and so I had no objections to going ahead and correcting that, just so that would become a functional part of that document. The other idea was to just put a caveat off to the side that said that you could use any NAC code you want for those county level talk groups, but they decided this is how they wanted to approach it, and I said that was okay. That's what we're about.
Yep. And we've shown light on it, so everyone's aware of the correction. So appreciate the efforts, Patrick.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and get it changed then.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
That brings us to new business and the new Isicsb user approval. Chair Hess.
Good morning. So we have 4 applications in front of us today for approval. First is Allen Memorial Hospital, which is a level 2 user. Cass County Sheriff's Office in Nebraska, a level 1 user. Gunderson Air, a level 1 user, and Unity Point Health in Marshalltown, a level 2 user. So I will make a motion to approve all 4 of those applications.
Brought a second.
Excellent. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the new users, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. That brings us to public comment. Are there any members of the public that would like to address the board? Hearing none, we will move to adjournment. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Broadest motion.
Second.
Benson will
Okay.
second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? We sit adjourned. Thank you all for your time.